decorum to be observed in this kind of online lecture. They still put on their mic instead for them to mute their mic. So I don't think it is necessary to be reminding us of what to do when it comes to the class like this. Any moment you join an online class, you mute your mic. Big Daddy, can you please mute your mic? Can you please mute your mic? Big Daddy, please mute your mic. Ordinarily, yesterday, I thought we've been able to cover all areas that are expected to be covered. And I felt I could give you a summary or a revision of what we've been able to do in the previous lectures we have covered. So that is why I accepted to take you this afternoon again. And I will not want to waste time. This is exactly 7 minutes past 1. And we quickly run over what we are expected to do in this particular course. And to do that, I just want to have your impression. I want to know how this class has been in the last 2 classes we have taken. What has been your observation? What area do you think we need to improve more? What are those things we've been able to do to your satisfaction? And what opportunity do you think still lie ahead of us? So can anybody volunteer to just give us impression of this class? We have been able to interact, I think, for 2 occasions, and this is going to be the 3rd one. So what is your impression about how the class has been run? Can somebody just volunteer while I just prepare to take you through the revision? Any volunteer? If you volunteer, just unmute and speak up. If you are a volunteer, please unmute and speak up, or you want me to call your name? You want me to call your name? Do you prefer that? No answer. Okay, I go by the way. I go by the way I usually do. So let me, as you appear, as it appears to me. Oh, who has been regular, very, very regular in this class? Prince Will. Prince Will, do I see your name? Prince Will, Queen. Oh, sorry, Lucky. Lucky, I can see your hand. Lucky, please, go ahead. Lucky, speak. You're already unmuted. Speak. Lucky, are you there? Oh, Lucky is not there. Lucky is not there. He just raised his hand. Perhaps the network is actually. Amadi Precious. Amadi Precious, can you say one or two things?
Hello, sir.
Amadi, perhaps it's your network. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So far, the classes have been good. At least I've been able to get some major things from the classes that we have had the previous times. But what I would like us to improve on is the material. Like when taking the class, maybe you can just present 1 or 2 materials that you're using for the class.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yes,
Okay,
Precious. Thank you. Precious. Amadi, are you there? Some people will not want to say their minds. Anyhow, Thank you, Lucky. That is noted, and we're going to do that. I like yesterday. I promised to make available to you study guide or material that will guide your understanding, further understanding of what we discuss. And that will be made available. Some of you have sent messages to me, and I promise that will be done as soon as possible. Maybe by tomorrow, you should get this material so that will guide you. When are you writing the exams?
On the 13th.
On the 13th, sir.
Oh, which means next Saturday, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, this needs to get to you today or tomorrow then. Don't worry, by tomorrow, latest tomorrow, you'll get it.
All right, sir.
I'm trying to arrange those things so that it makes meaning to you and is relevant to what we have discussed. So, by and large, we started with the definition of social welfare and social development. And I gave you some samples, I gave you some definitions, and I also asked you to read further. But if you check the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has anybody checked that since we started? Has anybody checked that? Has anybody even checked the National Social Protection Policy I talked about the other time? Or I think last night. Okay, yesterday. Has anybody checked that? Have you checked has anybody checked on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? You have not checked. None of you has checked that. And it's important that you read I emphasize that you need to read all this. When I mention such, it's your responsibility to find out whether those things, whether you can add more to what I actually taught you in class. But it seems you want everything to be given to you, and the result you agitate accordingly. That shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. As a student, you need to read more so that when you are approaching questions, even though you're going to write an objective type of, is it alternative or what do they call it? This this multiple choice, notwithstanding that, but
Subjective, sir.
Objective, sir.
It's objective, yes. Notwithstanding that, you can still when you are dealing with this practically, you get to understand better. Objective kind of exam is the most difficult to answer. Do you know that?
Yes, sir.
You know why? You know why it is like that? It's because yes,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
guide us. It's
Okay.
because you need to read everything. You need to understand. You need to read every part of the course, and you must understand. You must be able to find link. You must be able to find link to all the facts, and you need to separate what is relevant from what is not relevant. So that is why it's always difficult. But if it is essay type, what you do is you can read, and when you are asked questions, you can just describe and describe and describe. You enter, you will be on the road. Sometimes you go into the bush and you come back again. So perhaps the examiner will just look at you and say, okay, perhaps you didn't start well, but you ended well. But in the kind of objectives, either you get it or you get 0. So, quickly, for the benefit of those that just joined the class yesterday, we touched on introduction when we discussed definition of social welfare. And during that time, we said social welfare refers to organized public or private interventions that are designed to address social problems, promote well-being, and enhance quality of life. That's essentially what the social welfare is. Definition differs from context to context in different situations. In fact, what we may term as social welfare in Nigeria as a nation may be different, perhaps different from what others term as social welfare. That is why the definition is very, very important. When you write your project, there is a section where you put definition of terms. It is necessary because we want people to understand what you mean by a particular word. Let me give you an instance. If you say the adult age in Nigeria, the adult age in Nigeria starts from where? Age 18. Before you can be called an adult, because you can be called a Nigerian citizen that knows his right from his left, you must be 18 years and above. So if in another climes, their own definition is different. If in another climate, somebody that can be called an adult, if the age is put as 15, definitely you are giving us that definition for us to understand that when you get to this country, or when you are in this context, or when you are at this location, this is what we mean when we say adults. So that is the essence of definition. So definition, what our social welfare encapsulate may be different from what it means in Republic of Benin. So, but essentially there are certain things that link them together that make them to look alike. So this is an area you need to get to know. That is why I refer you to Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I said you should go and read chapter 2. Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I think I told you that to do, and which I expected you to have gone through and gotten some hints on what we actually discuss. What we actually discuss. So let me check if if I can quickly. Okay, let me quickly remind you of what we have in that chapter 2. The heading of the chapter 2 is fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy. That is the title. That is the chapter title, and it talks about fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy. When you go to that chapter, when you read the chapter, you will see what it means. So in this wise, let me quickly read out to you so that you know when we talk about social welfare, what it exactly means. Just a moment. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I just want to go to chapter 2. I'm going to its sections. Unfortunately, this okay. I want to go to the areas which talks about. Okay. Sorry, just a minute. This is not well arranged. That is why I cannot just okay. 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 Look at that. Just look at this section. That it is expected that the nations are foster national economy in such manner as to secure the maximum welfare, freedom, and happiness of every citizen on the basis of social functionality of status and opportunities. Sorry, this does not so well. Sorry, I will give you a better one. Okay, while we are doing that, let us just go. Let's move on. Let us move on. Sorry. Let's move on so that because I've asked you to do it, but you didn't. You people refuse to read that. So I think you can go and read that on your own. So we'll define social welfare as that. And we also talk about that. We also said social welfare is concerned with helping vulnerable groups such as children, women, the elderly, persons with disability, and the poor. And it goes beyond relief. What we are saying is that this goes beyond relief, providing relief to people. Social welfare goes beyond that. It is about empowerment. When you educate someone, when you try to provide skill for some people, you try to give such a person skill that will make him functional, that will make him useful, that will lift him out of poverty. In such a case, you are doing empowerment. It's still social welfare. Then we can talk about how best a person can move from one stage of development to another one. Then we can also talk about equity. We can talk about gender equality, removing or reducing inequalities, and so on and so forth. So this has to all this have to do with the social welfare. Coming to development, we said this development is a multidimensional process that entails economic growth, social inclusion, equity, and improvement of human well-being. Then we link the two together by saying that social welfare is both a tool and an outcome of development. That is to say, social welfare can be a subset of development as a whole. So any social welfare program or any intervention that is targeted at some citizen at improving the well-being of any individual, you are actually paving way for development of that individual. So in Nigeria, social welfare policies shape human capital, reduce poverty, and inclusive growth as well. Then we dwell on the historical context of social welfare in Nigeria. We go to pre-colonial, colonial, post-independence, and so on and so forth. The major areas of social welfare in Nigeria, we touch education, we touch health, we touch poverty reduction and social protection, child and family welfare, gender and women's welfare. We talk about the elderly and person with disabilities, and so on and so forth. Then yesterday, all of you were in the class, majority of you were in the class yesterday when we talk about challenges of social welfare and development, which we discussed extensively. Then the role of social workers as well in development and policy frameworks. And in that policy framework, I said you should go and read about national social protection policy. How many people have been able to check, even just after that class yesterday, have you been able to check what that national social protection policy is all about? Has anybody checked? Then, and I gave you an assignment to find out what operates in your state. What are those social policies that are in operation in your state, in your different states, like youth empowerment scheme and so on and so forth, school feeding, health insurance, and so on. I said you should do that. So I want your own contribution now. You know, I've been speaking for long. I've been speaking for some time, and I've been the one that has been giving you all this. So I want to hear from you, and I want us to discuss this way. Like the questions I gave yesterday, how effective are Nigeria's social investment program in reducing poverty? How best can you assess whether all the social welfare programs or social investment program or social protection programs that are being implemented by government, either federal or state, how are they effective? Are they effective? Are they effective? So let's start from there. Are they effective? So are they effective? Good luck. Oh, you remove your hand immediately. So before you do that, that is the outline of what we have discussed or what we have covered in this course. So do you have questions? Maybe when you ask your questions, then that one will take us to that discussion. Or you can address that question of effectiveness of social protection programs or policy that we have in the country. Yes. Good luck. Good luck, you wanted to say something?
Sure, good luck. Is it?
Yes, good luck, Mas Richie. You're already unmuted. Or you don't have anything to say?
So I'm just joining the class for the very first time. So
today,
I'm just joining the class for the very first time.
That's what I'm saying. You are joining today when we are rounding up. Okay. Yeah, good luck anyway. Yes. Who will guide us? How effective are social welfare programs in the country? Or you may leave my questions. You don't want to answer my questions, there's no problem. Do you have any questions on what we have discussed so far?
Please, are you hearing me, sir? Please,
yes.
I'm just joining you now. Please, I don't know that you people have started the lesson, but I registered that from the very day they registered. But I don't know that you people have started the lesson. Now, okay. It's now that I join you. Please, what can I do to understand you, please, and understand what you people are learning? Please, sir, I'm begging, sir.
I will definitely share the material with you so that you can go through the materials, and that will be a very good guide for you to understand what we have been able to do within the last 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir. Okay.
Yes. So if you go through I know if you go through it, they are not difficult things that will guide you very well. So never mind. Just when you go through, it's going to be you just read. But we started this class together. Did we start together? Did we start together this afternoon?
Okay. I wasn't, sir. It's now that I'm finding it.
Okay.
I'm finding it difficult to join you. I'm finding it difficult to find the exact Zoom. And it's now that
you have joined. No problem. No problem. Yes, for those of you that have been part of us, can you please say 1 or 2 things? Please, somebody should help us do the revision, maybe from beginning to where we stopped yesterday. Someone. Any volunteer. Just say whatever you have understood by this course. Any volunteer?
Please, sir. Can you mention some of? Let me see if I can try with gazing, please. Can you mention?
You are just joining. I'm asking other members that have been here. Let those that have been here, let them speak.
Oh, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Okay, I'm Eina Caroline Olomachi. So concerning the question you gave them yesterday, how effective that Nigerian policy can be. One, I will say by comprehensive framework. The Nigerian policy provides a national guide to coordinate programs like cash transfer, school fee, empower, and health insurance. This avoids duplication and ensure resources reach to the poor. Ensure that resources are being reached to the poor.
Okay.
Okay, for instance, I can say that during the time of like this Empower program, during the time of late President Buhari, yes. So he raised that program to help the this masses then, like empowering them with some a certain some amount every month. So and all the rest. So that can help in how it can be. It's one of the effectiveness that Nigerian policy has done so far.
Has it been effective?
I can't really say no because after a while, I don't think that that program continue. I can't really say yes that it has really
Okay.
been.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that answer because you have not carried out any study to say that that thing is actually on course or not. So good because you can only evaluate, you can only say one or two things categorically when you have actually carried out a study. Okay, thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Okay. Yes, any other contribution?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. It's Intro Celestine speaking, sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, so one of the effectiveness of the social welfare services in Nigeria uh, I would say the targeted interventions
Okay,
on some programs like the Shopee, uh, the material and child health care components.
okay,
Those are, I think, early 2023 or 24, so if I'm not mistaken. That was when
okay,
these programs were launched. But so far, I can't really say, to just like the previous speaker, if these programs are still effective in the country.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Also,
you.
we also face some challenges, including the implementation of these social policies, which are affected by social policies, bureaucratism, corruption, and other other limited coverage and funds diversion and all that. Those also
Okay,
affect the growth or the development of social welfare services in Nigeria.
thank you.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Can I say
Yes,
that if one say that that Nigeria are effective in health progress in Nigeria through national health insurance, in which
yes,
they are providing health services to people who in need of them, like
yeah,
civil servants and even private sector, anyone that is needed in need of their services and it belongs in that. Can I say that it is one of the way that Nigerians are progressive in social welfare?
yes, yes. It's one of the ways, one of the strategies to ensure that everybody has access to health care, and government is trying its best to ensure that that happens. You are on the right course, yes,
Okay, so
because health is part of that social welfare. So thank you. Okay, any other one?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My name is Faith Roland.
Yes.
So, from what I've understood from your teachings, I've not been too active, but I got the part where you say social policies are a set of government actions, laws, and programs that are designed to improve the welfare and well-being of citizens. So, some of the social policy of governments that are active, I would say they are the education policy.
Okay.
Because I know some schools, like government schools in all these communities, they don't pay school fees. Students don't pay school fees. So there are policies that are set by governments to give free education to communities like that. Also, in terms of security, I can say NAPTIP. NAPTIP is National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Person. It's also a government policy that was set in place to protect the lives of our younger generation, young adults and women.
Go ahead.
Yes, to reduce human trafficking and child prostitution.
So you can see the agency performing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
That the agency is rightly established to address that ill and to ensure that people don't engage in human trafficking, because there are laws that are in place. That is to tell us that the government is trying its best. Thank you. Yes,
sir.
you want to add more? Or you are done?
I'm done, sir. Yeah.
Okay, great. For that dimension you have taken us, just a minute. For that dimension you have taken us to, telling us that there are government institutions that are put in place, government agencies that are put in place to address some of our social problems. And you mentioned that NAPTIP in particular. And we also have several other agencies, National Human Rights Commission. We also have, what is this agency now? There are others like that that actually whose focus or mandate are to ensure that every citizen in the country lives well. Thank you. Caroline, I've been seeing your hand up. Sorry. Caroline, you want to say something?
No, sir. Let me put it down.
No, lower your hand there. Celestine, your hand is also up, as well as Oka. Okay. Celestine, you are not
Good
saying
afternoon,
anything?
sir.
Good afternoon.
Okay, sir. I'm Oka Rejoice. I wanted to add the thing I understood most.
Okay.
Yeah, you said that social workers work with the people and not for the people.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's my contribution, sir.
Okay, that's great. Meaning that you are not, that's great. It's so apt and so direct that you don't work for them, you work with them so that you carry
Yes,
them
sir.
along, and you don't do it alone. Thank you for that contribution.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
Celestine is not responding. Let me, like I told you to look at the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And in the chapter one just talks about supremacy of the Constitution. That's why I added chapter 1, because its provisions are binding force on all authorities and persons throughout the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Meaning that Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the supreme law that we have. No other law is above it. If there is any inconsistency between the new law and the Constitution, that of the Constitution will be supreme. The Constitution will supersede whatever other law that may come in the country or that may be promulgated in the country. So chapter 2, in essence, is about fundamental objectives and directive principle of state policy, like I explained to you. When you check section 14(2)(b), it states that, this is where I'm trying to emphasize, that section 14(2) states that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Can you underline that? The security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. You can imagine that, meaning that the welfare of the people is the primary concern of the government. Any government, either at the national level, at the state level, or at the local government level, any government whatsoever, the primary purpose of establishing that government is to protect, is to ensure that, to take care of the welfare of the people. That's the primary purpose. And Section 16 goes further to say that suitable and adequate shelter, provision of suitable and adequate shelter, suitable and adequate food. When you have a good shelter, what are we talking about? When you have suitable and adequate food, which means you are not going to be hungry, which means the poverty does not strike you. Poverty will not get to you in any form because you can eat. There will be no hunger in your dictionary. The reasonable national minimum wage or reasonable national minimum welfare, old age care, pensions, and unemployment, sick benefits, and welfare of the disabled. So you can read this up, section 16, section 14 to section 17, which talks about social welfare. Now, under that particular chapter, we have this with regards to the social policy of government. With regard to the social policy of government. So you need to just read further for you to get the fact I'm trying to lay emphasis on. So leaving that, I also refer you to National Social Protection Policy 2017. What are the features of that particular policy? I'm going to guide you now. The features, the policy contains goal. The goal of that particular policy is to establish a gender-sensitive, age-appropriate framework to ensure a minimum social protection floor for all Nigerian citizens for a life of dignity. That is the goal, the overall goal of that policy, to establish gender-sensitive, age-appropriate framework to ensure minimum social protection floor for all Nigerian citizens, minimum for a life of dignity, which means every citizen deserves a life of dignity. In this case, acceptable platform for social protection activities for all the stakeholders, as well as coordination of same at all levels of government will be put in place. Effective resources mobilization, resource management, and sustainability, as well as awareness creation, advocacy, mobilization of support for social protection as a viable development framework. Can't you see the role of social workers here? Awareness creation. Is it not your role as a social worker that is being specified even by this policy? Advocacy. Is it not your role? Mobilization. Is it not your role? So these are roles that is to tell you that social welfare and social work or social workers' role are actually embedded in the policy as well as we have in the constitution. What are the specific objectives of that policy? The specific objectives are: one, reduce poverty among the people vulnerable to being poor. Is that not social welfare? Answer me. Someone will answer me.
It is, sir. It is.
That's the specific objective of that policy. Yes, number one, reduce poverty among the people vulnerable to being poor. In that particular statement, we can see poverty. We have talked about people that are vulnerable. We have talked about people that are poor. Then number two, empower the poor and people vulnerable to economic shocks. People in that poverty, on that poverty line, people with poverty, you want to empower them because they are poor, people that are not rich. Is that not social in nature? It's social. And number three, enhance human capital development to ensure life of dignity. To ensure life of dignity. Enhance human capital development to ensure life of dignity. Life of dignity, we talk about development. Human development, when you empower a person, you are trying to ensure that that person is developed. Number four, provide guiding principles for managing social protection projects and programs. How do we implement? How do you manage those programs? promote social cohesion, equity, and inclusive growth. Is that not social in dimension? Ensure citizens have access. Ensure citizens have access, access to basic social services and infrastructure. We talk about access to healthcare services the other time. This policy is formulated. One of its objectives is to ensure that all citizens, they have access to basic social services. What are the basic social services? Education, health. Education, health. These are basic social services that every citizen should be given access to. Provide social welfare and improve food security and nutrition. This is another one, and nutrition, so that people will not die of hunger. Ensure decent employment and sustainable livelihood. We'll talk about one of the challenges that we have in this country in the implementation of our policy is unemployment, widespread unemployment. But now, this policy is to address that unemployment problem by doing what? By ensure that every citizen gets decent employment and can be proud of sustainable livelihood. What is sustainable livelihood? Livelihood that will live with you forever. Livelihood that does not have a lifespan. That is what this policy is bound to achieve. Protect individuals and household from shocks that can make their fall into extreme poverty. That can make their fall into extreme poverty, so that people will not go back to poverty. This is what this particular policy is talking about. Promote synergy and coordination among all social protection intervention agencies. We have several agencies. This policy will promote synergy, coordination, collaboration, partnership among all the agencies that are related. Today, in Nigeria, we have Ministry of Humanitarian Resources, Ministry of Humanitarian and Disaster Management. That particular ministry cannot single-handedly deal with all the mandates. The ministry will have recourse to Ministry of Health. The ministry will have recourse to Ministry of Women Affairs. The ministry will have recourse to even Ministry of Youth, and so on and so forth. All these ministries, they work together in synergy to ensure that the objective of the social welfare agenda are achieved. Under the ministry, we have various agencies. National Emergency Management Agency is an agency that is dealing with disaster management. Somebody mentioned NAPTIP the other time, National Human Rights Commission, so many agencies, and National Drug Law Enforcement Agency.
Please, I repeat this one, this last one now. Please, can you?
What should I repeat? The ministry.
Yes, the ministry.
I said the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management has links, works in collaboration with some other line ministries like Ministry of Health, Ministry of Youth, Ministry of Women Affairs, Ministry of Social Welfare, and other ministries that are very, very, Ministry of Environment, Ministry of, what do we call it? I've mentioned Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Agriculture, and other agencies that are very, very germane in achieving the objective or the mandate of that ministry. I mean, in achieving the mandate of social welfare programs, social protection programs, that ministry is anchoring. And I also mentioned that there are agencies that work even apart from ministry. You know, those ones will be operating at the ministerial level, but there are other agencies and parastatals parastatals that are linked with the ministry. And that is when I mentioned NEMA, which is National Emergency Management Agency. I also mentioned NAPTIP. NAPTIP, that one is in charge of human trafficking. And the agencies in charge of disables, the agencies on the diaspora, agency, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, and so on and so forth. You can just think about all those ministries, all those agencies that are relevant in this regard. That is what I mean. I hope you understand what that National Social Protection Agency, National Social Protection Agency talks about. So like I told you, it's a framework. It's a framework that is being formulated, appropriate framework to ensure a minimum social protection floor for every citizen in the country, and is the current policy, comprehensive policy that addresses social welfare issues in Nigeria. We talk about conditional cash transfer and so on and so forth. When you Google, you get this complete document. Go through it, you understand that everything we have discussed, you find it in that particular document where you can read. But it's a very document, it's a good document that you should know more about. Other policies are there. We have national gender policy, national youth policy, national youth policies, and of course, somebody mentioned the NAPTIP the other time. Even before NAPTIP, we have a law in the country now, which is VAP law. Have you heard about that? I think I mentioned it the other time. VAP law. VAP law is VAPP or VAP Act. If it is VAP Act, it means that it is an enactment of the National Assembly. Act is promulgated from the National Assembly. But if it is law, it means that at the state level, that act has been domesticated at the state level by the respective state House of Assembly. That is why it has become law. When it gets to the local government, it is by law. But as at now, many states have also domesticated this VAP law. What does that law mean? Well, this VAP Act, sorry. The VAP Act is Violence Against Person Prohibition Act. Violence Against Person Prohibition Act. I think it was enacted in 2015 or thereabout, but you can find out when such was enacted. So when you find out that, you read more about that. It talks about various forms of violence that we have or we experience presently. Let me see if I can see that act here. I can quickly bring your attention to it. So, but you can read up that as well. I think I have a copy here. Let me see if I can share it. Verb. No. Let me see if I can share, if I can find it in one of my documents. Okay, 2015. It was enacted in 2015. Let me see. Let me see if it can be. Oh, it's not clear. Let me look for the one that is clearer. Okay, let me see if it is clearer. Okay. Let's just see. I don't know. Violence Against Persons Act. Let me see if I can share it so that we use that as a pattern something. So any questions so far? Where I'm trying to share. Any questions so far? Any questions so far?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sorry, it's Faith again. I wanted to ask if there is a past questions for
No.
yes.
No. No past question.
So
No
what
past
you're
question.
teaching us now, we don't have a document to look at later. I don't know. The
Yes,
one
that is.
you guys
I
said.
want to. That is why I said I want to share some documents with you. That's why
Okay.
I said I want to. Okay, let me say I want that. Let me just share this. If there are some document that can be of. Can you see anything? Can you see anything from your hand on my screen?
No.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yes, sir.
Is it
Yes,
the
What
sir.
is
one
it?
that said? Is it the one that said violence? Is it the one that said violence against person
Persons
prohibition?
Prohibition Act. Yes, that's the act
Which
I
comes.
told you of. Okay, can you read? Please read for us. Read for us so that others can also understand that. Somebody
Violence
should read.
against person prohibition.
Okay.
Violence Against Person Prohibition Act 2015. The Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015, also known as VAPP Act, is a law.
Verb.
Okay, VAB. Okay, sorry, VAB Act is a law enacted by the National Assembly, Nigeria, and was attempted to become law by President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan on 2015. The goal of the act is to eliminate violence in private and public life, prohibit all forms of violence and to provide maximum protection and effective remedies for victims and punishments of offenders. And for related matters, the VAB Act was enacted as a result of many gender-based violence and human rights abuse happening in Nigeria, including rape, maiming of spouse, forceful ejection from home, forced isolations, and birth and killing.
Acid bath.
Okay,
Acid
bath.
bath and killing.
Okay.
Okay.
Acid bath
They
and
don't stop
killing.
to sell them.
Thank you. Those
All right.
persons that
They don't stop to
please,
sell acid. They say
please,
stop to sell acid.
can that person mute a mic? They are not talking, please. So I want to thank the person that has just read that to us. In your own opinion, does it have anything to do with social welfare or social worker?
Yes, sir, it does.
That is
Yes.
why you need to know what is in that law. That is why when we are talking about policy, though I'm not taking you policy, law is above policy in hierarchy. You cannot take policy cannot be argued in court. Policy is not a legal document that is tenable in court, even though you are using it to implement some programs. But you cannot cite policy in the court of law. But when we see something like this that is a law, this can be cited and it can be used against or in favor of any case. So you can see the areas that are related to our interests. That is social welfare. We talk about gender-based violence, human rights abuse, rape, maiming of spouse, forceful ejection from home, killing, all forms of violence against persons. And this is to provide maximum protection and effective remedy for victims. So thank you for reading that one out, and I think this is quite understandable. So you go and read more about that particular law. You can see the offenses are there, jurisdiction of the court to handle it, service provider, regulatory body. We mentioned NAPTIP the other time. You can see that under regulatory body in this Who are those disturbing us? You people are disturbing us. It's not good now. Can you please allow us to end this class before you start whatever you want to do? So, the regulatory body, this part explained that National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons is the regulatory body mandated to administer the provisions of the VAB Act. Can you see that? And we mentioned NAPTIP as one of those agencies that is related to social welfare provision in Nigeria. Then interpretation and so on, and domestication of VAB Acts. In many states of the country, many states have actually domesticated this. As at March 2022, out of 36 states, 19 states, by now I know the number has increased. They have domesticated the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, and these are the states as they also domesticate this particular law act. And when it gets to the state, it becomes law, and so on and so forth. So you can read more on this, and that I think this will be a confident point, or a confident junction to end our class. Do we have any question?
Yes, I have a question. In this situation now, please help me to know what a social worker is supposed to do in this violence work there as a social worker?
There are many things for you to do. If you see anybody that has actually violated any part, any section of this particular law, you can report such a person to the police. You can report it to the agency in charge. So when you report, depending on the case, depending on the matter, and even depending on the context where that happened. For instance, we have violence against person. Violence against person, before it used to be women clamoring for protection, that they are being battered by their husband and this. If a woman also actually if a woman inflict injury or inflict violence on her husband, such a woman can also be taken to court, and she can be sued for such. That is why it is person, it's not women. So if you notice any violation, any of these people committing offense in any of the sections of this particular act, you have that right to report. Even as a social worker, you can take it to the ministry in charge, or you take it to the police. When such is established, such a person will be arrested and will be tried in law courts. That is, if you report at all. Many people are being raped, but these are unreported. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Thanks, sir.
Okay, that is what you can do. Since you are not a law enforcement agent, you report to the law enforcement agent who will actually enforce that law on people. Thank you. Any other question from beginning to the end? So I want to thank you sincerely. Since you don't have any question, I will try as much as possible.
Please, sir. Please, sir. Yeah, how can we get this material? Yes.
Yes, some of your, at least two of your classmates have sent message to me through my wall. I will ensure that I will send to them, and they will escalate. They will send it to all of you, maybe in your platform.
Thank you, sir.
And you're going to get that one by tomorrow latest.
Thank you.
Sir, please, it's important to me because I wasn't with you since you started, so that I will read through the material. I can know the ones that I.
With the little we said today, you should be able to. You should have picked some important points, isn't it? Don't worry, the material will get to you, and you also have to read. Don't forget National Social Protection Policy. You have to read. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Go to chapter 2 and read this verb law. I also mentioned you need to read and understand the general reason, the general objective of those particular laws. So thank you most sincerely. So I want to wish you all the best in your exams, and I pray you all come out in fly colors. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
and God bless.
Thank you,
Amen.
sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, sir.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank
Bye
you,
bye.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right.